platform. Hello, Kenan. I would like to ask you, how exciting is it for you and for the whole team to play against such an important side like Manchester
hello
City?
Everyone. Yes, it's a big game tomorrow. When we were childs, we always dream for these games, so it's a dream to come true tomorrow. Yeah, we're happy.
Hello, Kenan. Good afternoon. Joanna Albanese, Sport Italia. So I would like to ask you, in relation to the last period, is there anything in particular that, as to tomorrow's match, you shouldn't do? So any mistakes that you shouldn't make?
No, we just prepare for our games. We don't want to do some difficult or other things. We just prepare good for the game. And yeah, we hope the result's going to be good tomorrow.
Hello, Yıldız. The Culture News. So how much do you think that tomorrow will be important from a professional point of view, this new experience in the Champions League, and in particular, playing against such an important team like Manchester City?
It's a very, very big game tomorrow. So I will give my best for my team. Like I said before, I hope it's going to be good. And yeah, it's a really, really great game tomorrow.
Hello, Kenan. Fabrizio Ferriero, Mediaset. So this is a very important season for you. You're wearing number 10 on the bag. So you have played a lot together with Cambiaso. You already scored 4 goals. So what about your satisfaction? Are you happy with this start of the season? And what about your expectations?
I think they wait for a lot of things, of course. It's a very great season for me. I have to improve, of course, a lot for myself and else. But yeah, it's very nice to play with a player like Cambiaso behind me. He's helping me a lot. I hope I can improve more and have a great season this year.
Good afternoon, Kenan. Davide Identico, Sport Notizie. So you're gonna fight against a team with great champions like Foden, like Doku. So among the various players of Manchester City, who would you pick up as an idol?
Man City is, like I said also before, it's a great, great team. 2 years before, they won the Champions League. So if I have to pick one, maybe in the moment it's Haaland, but Foden and all the players, Gundogan. So they have such good players, and also when I was small I saw them in the field, so yeah, it's an honor to play against them tomorrow.
Good afternoon, Kenan. Marco Battuto Sport. So you played a lot, you scored as well, so you're young, obviously there is room for improvement. What aspects do you believe, according to your playing style, you think that you should still improve?
Thanks. First, in football, I think there's always to improve. So yeah, I try to improve my game to help my team to get better every day. But there's no specific thing what I can tell you now, but I want to improve always. Yeah, that's the thing.
Hello, Alessandra Dangiora, Sport. So you had a draw, actually a streak of draws, but the last draw also triggered a reaction in Juventus. There was a comeback by Juventus. So have you got the feeling that this last reaction could be a new starting point for a change in the season?
Yeah, we come from a draw, but we are a big team, so we look always forward. We in a team, we are happy. We spoke also together for such a great game. And yeah, we go 100% tomorrow. And yeah, like I said before, hopefully it's going to be good.
Hello, Kenan. Cristiano Corbo, Calciomercato Bianconero. So after the 2 goals against Inter, maybe something changed inside you also in terms of mental strength and mental stability. What do you think about it?
Yes, of course. It gives you a lot of confidence to score against a big team like this in the San Siro. But yes, like we said before, I have to improve a lot. I have to work on myself. So yeah, I look always forward and hope to score more goals and more assists for my team.
Hello, Kenan. Juventus News 24. So what about your relationship with Thiago Motta, with your coach, and what about his support in this path of growth?
He's a great coach, was a legend as a player, so I'm very grateful to have him behind me. He's helping us as a team a lot, and yes, also him, we try always to do our best, so I'm very thankful to have him next to me.
Antonio Pollino, Radio Bianconera.
Antonio Poyo, Radio Bianconero. So just pretend that Thiago is not sitting next to me. Well, he can't pretend because I'm here, actually. Well, he can't pretend I'm not here because I am here. Okay, so he's sitting next to you, but he's actually not listening to you. The other question was already trying to, a little provocative, just to make the player feel uncomfortable. Well, no, of course not, but just being serious. What about your position? So would you ask your coach maybe to play a bit closer to the goal, or maybe you have already started adapting? Well, this question is not fair. Well, you started off in the wrong way, in my opinion. Well, I already expected it to be a wrong question. So this is not the right question. This is not a fair question. So you ask him the question, and then you ask a question about the player's position. Well, my question is about your position, whether you feel comfortable in that position or not.
Ben educato. Bene. Bravo, Kenan.
Good answer. Fabiana Della Valle, Gazzetta dello Sport. Hello. So I would like to ask you, what about the Champions League? What does it represent to you? As this is the first year that you're going to play in the Champions League. So have you noticed any differences? So in the first Champions League match, you scored 1 goal, and are you dreaming of scoring another goal as
First
it
of all,
happened
Champions
against
League
PSG?
is a historic thing. So as a kid, you always try to work hard as possible to play one day there. So now I'm here. I'm very happy. So I remember also the first time when I hear the hymn, I get goosebumps on my whole skin. So yeah, I'm very grateful to play in such a competition. And yes, tomorrow is another great game. So I hope I can give my best and help the team.
Hello, Kenan, Filippo Bonsignoro, Corriere dello Sport. So I would like to ask you, where do you think Juventus will manage to get to in the Champions League?
So I don't know where we end at the end of the season, but I always say it, we try to give our best, and we will see at the end where we land.
So thank you very much, Kenan. And now we can move on to the questions to our coach. Let's start with the Juventus platform, and then we'll go on with the other journalists. So, nice to see you again, radiojuventus.com. So, how nice and difficult is it at the same time to get ready for tomorrow's match? So, what about our expectations for tomorrow's match? Well, obviously, it's a great opportunity to play against such a great club like Manchester City. And as usual, we have prepared the match in order to do our best and to grow as a team and to improve as a team. And obviously, we always want to get on the pitch extremely concentrated and focused and determined about what we need to do and what we should avoid to do against such a great side like Manchester City. Good afternoon, Giovanni Albanese, Sport Italia. So yesterday, Elkan arrived at the Continassa training center. So his support is that so fundamental. Maybe can you tell us something more about the conversation that you had? Can you tell us something more about that moment? Well, I can tell you that for all of us, it was extremely important, and we really appreciated the fact that he came to see us. And then, of course, all the other things that we said is something confidential, and so I can't really disclose what we talked about. Hello, Corriere della Sera. So Manchester City in the Premier League has more than 63% of ball possession. So from the beginning of the year, you have been telling us that you want ball possession, that you want to control the play, you expect a certain attitude by your players. Do you think that will be that can be achieved also against a team like City or not? Well, obviously controlling the match doesn't just mean having ball possession and ball control. Obviously controlling the game means that many other things will have to be carried out properly, and each team has its own characteristic. We know that tomorrow we are going to play against a team with a very specific approach to the ball, and they have lots of ball possession. They just go to the opponent's box with lots of players that attack. So we have to be ready, because as soon as they attack, we'll have to defend ourselves well, and so we'll also need to press them a lot. And when we have the ball, of course, we'll have to use our qualities in order to keep the ball, because in games like this is extremely important, because when we have the ball, we must keep the ball and make sure that we can play it properly and obviously exploit all our qualities. Good afternoon, Fabrizio Ferriero, Sport Mediaset. So this league phase is obviously something new for everyone. So lots of predictions have been made in terms of points and so on and so forth. So with a very quick analysis, a win for you would be an important step ahead, especially against a team that both actually, if you actually lost, would have quite a lot of difficulties. So do you actually take all these elements into consideration? Do you take into account all these projections and predictions and statistics? Is that so important for you also in your evaluations? So what about also your objectives for the future? Well, obviously we consider everything, but then we set the priority on the most important things. And now the most important thing is to basically focus on our control, and so get ready for the match and know exactly what we need to do on the pitch, and also be aware of what we need to be tomorrow against such a strong side like Manchester City. So being very compact and solid, and play with great intensity, especially in specific moments of the game, and use the ball properly, as I said before. So obviously using our qualities in ball control and ball possession, especially when we play against those teams that like to attack a lot. So we can actually put them into trouble when we play the game well, when we use the ball properly, and avoiding creating spaces where the opponents might, seize opportunities and they could actually break through or break away. So these are the things that we have to take into account, and we can obviously imagine and predict, but the priority right now is to focus on what is really important in this very moment. It is being extremely focused on what we need to do tomorrow, the whole team, all of us, and we just do it game by game. And then, of course, all the statistics and figures and predictions, they do matter, but to a certain extent. So obviously, at the end of tomorrow's match, we'll be then considering what is more or less important. Radio Bianconera. So can you just give us an idea of the injured players? And according to the coach's philosophy, do you think that after such a long stop, some players, when they recover, can actually play from the very beginning? Well, according to my philosophy, well, obviously, those that deserve to play will be playing. But it's also true that if one player that was injured for a very long time, then obviously recovering will take quite a while. So this means that the player will have to adapt to the team rhythm, but it also depends on the player's fitness, how long he actually was absent and couldn't play. So there are many different elements to be taken into account, and these are the factors that I usually consider when choosing the lineup. Good afternoon, Marco Venditti, Calcio News. So you have a great character, as we saw against Leipzig and also in the Italian league. So when you're going through difficulties, you also show great determination. So do you think that this is a quality that you need to have also when you need to recover the result? And yes, I agree with you, and there is a further room for improvement, because we are a very young team. And we can definitely improve different aspects of our play, whether it is our technique and our mental strength, as well as our physical strength. All these elements are crucial and fundamental. We have already demonstrated to have a very strong personality, especially when we're going through difficult moments, and we have shown how much we can make progress and grow. But we can also grow because we are very united on the pitch, as Kenan said, and just making reference to your colleague's question. Kenan is asked, as he is a forward, is obviously asked whether he wants to play closer to the goal. Of course, the reply would be yes, I want to play closer to the goal. But there are many different tasks that now a forward has to accomplish, not only playing close to the goal. And Kenan has clearly demonstrated that. He wants to attack, he wants to defend, he wants to score goals, and he wants to, be in harmony with the whole teammates. Because if you want to play in such a big club like Juventus, you obviously need to have all these elements all together. Because, of course, you want to play and being a protagonist, and this is exactly what all our players want. Good afternoon, Alessandra Dangiora, Sport. So Gasperini, talking about Real, said, well, I don't think it's actually going through a crisis. Can you say the same thing about Manchester City? And is it more complicated, paradoxically, to play against Manchester City that is now going through a critical moment? Well, actually, I can't say what's happening in the other clubs. I can just admire what they have achieved so far in the last few years. And in the last few years, Manchester City has won basically everything. And that's something that needs to be taken in consideration. And obviously, I congratulate and pay my compliments for their achievements, because Manchester City has certainly showed their great value, because they have achieved extraordinary results, just winning the Premier League 4 times in a row, and then winning the Champions League and also the Club World Cup. So it's quite relative, to say that they are going through a critical moment right now. Hello, Fabiana Della Valle, Gazzetta dello Sport. I would like to ask you about your opinion about Guardiola, and somehow you got inspired from him in your coaching style. Well, obviously, he's a very strong coach. I'm not the only one to say that. Well, facts clearly proved how strong he is. Since he started working as a coach, he showed how strong he's always been. He has won everything, so you shouldn't ask me. So you don't need me to praise him for that, because it's pretty clear according to the facts. Good afternoon, Thiago Motta, Tutto Sport. So in the 15 minutes where we could see you training, we saw Cambiaso, McKennie, and we were not so used to see so many players. And so the fact that you could train them for so long also gives more optimism. It's a boost of energy and confidence. So probably now you started breathing a different kind of atmosphere compared to the past, where you had lots of injuries. And what about them? So will they be called up for tomorrow's match? Well, obviously, every situation that we face must be dealt with in a different way, as I've already pointed out several times. So we obviously try to give something more for the good of the team. When we had a few players, obviously we tried to adapt to the situation. Now there are lots of players that are coming back and training and playing again with the team. And obviously I'm very happy for them, because these players are the first ones that actually want to participate, they want to play. And they are the first ones that are very disappointed when they can't play, whether it is an injury or a coach's choice. So now these players are back to the group, and we are very happy and satisfied that they can give a contribution. They can already help us tomorrow, either playing from the very beginning or maybe when the match has already started. Good afternoon, Gamba La Repubblica. You often say You often say that you need to improve in general terms, but more specifically, can you tell us if there is any specific aspect where you're lagging a little behind, and how come that at the beginning of the season it seemed that the team was doing better than what you have done in the last few weeks? Maybe it depends on the injuries, but I would like to ask you for an explanation. Well, I've never really used the injuries as an alibi, to be honest, so I've never really said that this is a negative moment because of the injuries, and this is something I've never said, and 200% I actually do not believe in these things. So I believe that instead that obviously there are different moments that a team can go through, and obviously what really matters is that regardless of the moment, the team will be able to face any given situation. So whether they are positive or negative, we've always been able to face them and just to do things properly, working hard, being very united as a team with lots of teamwork, so obviously trying to play better than the opponent. Sometimes we succeeded in that, sometimes we actually didn't. But apart from that, so far we have really so we have just lost one match in the Champions League, while we had different results in the others, and so hopefully we'll be able to go on like this. We obviously want to improve. There is just one thing that we want to improve. We can improve, and we need to improve every aspect, and obviously we got great potential to do that. Good afternoon, Matteo Guglielmo Puccheri, La Stampa. So between Vlahovic and Holland, do you see any common elements, if any? And well, do you think, or maybe do you think they're actually different? Well, we're talking about two top players, two players that play in two top clubs, two great strikers, but actually making a comparison, it's not something that I really like making. I don't think I'm really very good at making this comparison, because I know Dusan very well, but I don't know Haaland that well. So actually, the judgment, well, I don't really like to express judgments and you know, to judge what other players do in other clubs. So I'm obviously happy with what Dusan has done so far, and tomorrow he will also be giving another opportunity to show his value and his talent for the good of the whole team, as he has done so far, and I'm pretty sure that he will be doing that also in the future. Cristiano Gorbo, calciomercato.com and Bianconero. So specifically as to the Douglas Ruiz, so how is he and how long will you have to wait for him to recover? Well, he's quite well. So he worked with the group in Douglas' cases. And, well, we needed to assess him carefully, because in the last match that he played, it was against Lazio, if I remember well. So since then, several days have passed by, and now he's back to the group, and we'll see how he will react during the training sessions and also the moments where he will be playing during the match. And so we'll see his evolution, and in order to better understand whether he can actually follow the rhythm, the pace of the whole team or not. Last question, please. Good afternoon, Filippo Bonsignore, Corriere dello Sport. So what about the weight of tomorrow's match? So is it so heavy for you to play against such a team? And what about also the result that you expect? Also considering that this is a young team that is growing. Well, I don't know the weight of tomorrow's match. It's a Champions League clash, of course, two clubs that will be playing against each other. And we need to focus on this. We must be very concentrated and understand exactly what we need to do on the pitch in order to compete against such a top team. Then, of course, any other comments are not so important. What really matters is what we do on the pitch, and we must be ready and playing our game and obviously trying to get a positive result for us. Thank you very much.
Nell'immaginario.